I don't. My characters are idiots. And so they're daily benign struggles that you can relate to, like of just getting enough food to eat. Public transportation sucks, especially when you don't like your neighbors. Those struggles that translates without having to go, you fit here on this planet in this scenario. It's more of, didn't end when we started traveling in space? Why do we have to deal with that?
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the author podcast. We get to meet great people from around the world. We get to hear great stories from authors, their journey, and you get to fall in love with your next favorite author. And Jordan is here, and we're going to have an infinitely long conversation today about some books and some stories and a great author. I'm excited to have Jordan here. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Jordan, tell everybody where you are in this big world of ours.
Out of Houston, Texas. We were just talking about how winter's more of a suggestion here because I spent yesterday outside with my dad helping plant tomatoes and turn over the garden because spring's basically here.
Oh my gosh. I'm in Canada and we don't have any access to grass right now. It's covered in snow. So yeah. I'm a little jealous of you, Jordan. So
appreciate it.
I got to get down to Texas sometime. I'd love to come down. That'd be great. Let's talk a little bit about your journey as an author, Jordan. We have a lot of authors who listen to the show and they're brand new to writing. So maybe they started yesterday and they'd love to be in your spot as a published author and have a book to talk about, a final product to put out in the world. You've done it and they haven't. So you know something that you've learned along the way. If you could have listened to a podcast before you started writing, what would have been helpful for you to hear, you think, when you think back to when you first started?
Oh, I have no idea. Because when I started writing, I was in middle school, in trouble, in detention, where we had to write these paragraphs about how to be a good person. And I'd write one, scribble for 3 pages for 2 hours while in detention, and then write one more of the paragraph. So that was like my escapism as it was. I've gotten a lot of advice over the years, and what works for a lot of people seems to just derail me. One piece of advice was there's a save the cat methodology that another author suggested, and it was very formal, and it told you how, like, movies have the first, second, and third act, how you go through everything. I finished the book and threw it across the room and said, I'm not doing that. That does not work for me. But it makes sense that it's the way all of television and movies are structured to make that kind of sense. Okay. And mine is insane ramblings and incident reports, or I'm on an adventure too. I didn't know where we were going. I don't know what I'm doing, and my characters aren't behaving, so I'm just doing my best.
And your characters aren't behaving. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So it's a very random approach, right?
Yeah. I try to be structured, but it seems the more structured and outlining and planning, the more I just avoid it like the plague. There's when people say they're built different, I might be built wrong, because I know none of this is original, but it's part of my process, and it's how I ended up where I am. My earlier versions of the book were just ways to lose my mind working in industrial scenarios where you can't talk to anybody and you're watching numbers turn. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and it's boring. So I picked up where I left off from middle school, writing things down, trying to keep myself occupied for 12-hour shifts at a time.
What else is in your background? I'm looking at your website, Jordan, and you talk a little bit about your past. What else have you done in the past besides where you're working and have been doing recently?
After high school, I went into the Air Force, and that's where some of the earlier versions of my manuscript came from, was long shifts with something to do, but you're also losing your mind out of boredom because it's not a taxing task. and you can only stare at things for so long before you start going crazy. And it was working in those industrial areas for putting fuel on planes. Like, I'm not a hero. I'm not glamorizing it. It was my work day with somebody telling me to start and then kill it, and then standing around for hours on end.
Wow.
After, yeah, and it's funny because now some of my old deployment buddies are reaching out and they're like, "Hey, you actually got it done. Decades later, you were talking about this then." I was like, uh, it wasn't so much as the lifelong dream as a survival strategy for me.
Interesting. Well, so how long were you serving for then?
6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That's, see, I was reading through on your website and it sounded like there was a lot of time where you're just like trying to keep yourself together and focused and have something to think about. But you got to, I guess you have to be careful where you were working. You can't just kind of
Yeah.
wander off, right? So,
You- yeah, we couldn't wander off, but it's as dull can get. That's
wow.
what it was. That was my turn through it, and people had very different experiences.
Yeah.
And part of me thankful for that because some people had they're all over TV if they had traumatic experiences, and I'm happy to say I got to walk away mostly unscathed.
There
Like I
you go.
still have all my fingers and toes.
Yeah. And that time of having that time to think, even while you're busy doing other things, it gives you some time to dip into your creative side then?
Yep, exactly. And that's what I did. I used to say like I did it to preserve my sanity, but the more time I spent in my world that I was building one brick at a time, the less time I was spending in an unpleasant environment. And that
Yeah.
translated into a skill that years later I would come to rely on because after the Air Force, I became a veterinary technician. You might call him a dog nurse since you're Canadian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know why we as Americans don't like the term veterinary nurse. Like it was a whole thing in college about why everywhere else. Anyhow, after that, I created a company doing pilot cars, escorting oversize loads around the country, and uh, which again was a lot of time sitting somewhere with questionable reception and nothing to do,
Yeah.
where we're waiting on a crane or an engineer or somebody to take delivery. So I'd be stuck in job sites in the middle of nowhere, central US, where there's nothing to do, and I just embraced it. And I that's when I really started turning years of scribblings into a functional manuscript and started Googling, like, do I have enough here to turn it into a real book? Then eventually the time came for me to go, okay, am I going to do this or not? Yes. I
Okay.
had a few life changes, and I took 2 years to turn the pile of notes that were starting to build up. And I'm like, can we refine this into a usable product? And
Wow.
started putting my money where my mouth is, hired an editor because I'm fully dyslexic and kind of an idiot. And it's okay. Good decisions don't make good storytelling. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about writing with this dyslexia. Like, how does that impact you as you kind of think through and write out your story? What kind of, how do you work around that?
I don't.
Okay.
It's my editor's problem
They
at
help
the
you?
end of
Yeah.
the day. Yeah. Then I'll send the document off. She'll go through it and be like, "Oh yeah, I recognize that mistake," and I just go through and make sure she doesn't change technical jargon to something
Yeah.
formal writing, and that's all I'm looking for. And I take 98% of her changes.
Good. It's nice to have somebody there to kind of be in your corner, understand how you write, and give you great suggestions as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, if I wasn't dyslexic, it would just probably save me some money and shorten my production time. Like
Okay.
when you do the math. And I'm not sure it bothers me at all.
No. Yeah. That's good. Well, okay. No, talk a little bit about, you talk about the randomness of kind of how your approach to writing. when do you know the final chapter, the final ending of your book? The beginning when you start writing, or closer to the end? When do you figure that ending piece out?
Um, I it hits me like a brick wall. Like I'll type and I'll be like, huh. I know Google tells me that a full-length novel is between 80 and 120,000 words, so that's my zone. And somewhere in there, I'll put the last little scene in. It might need a little bit of tweaking, and I'll go, that's a break. That's where this story should stop. I don't want to tell this next part. I want to skip here. And in my head, that's where I should put the final sentence and start the next book. That also
Okay.
explains why my first manuscript is has turned into 4 books
Wow.
because I
Wow.
didn't know what I was doing.
Wow. Four
Yeah,
books.
yeah. The first 2 are out, and editing. Uh, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it as that because I was not satisfied with a portion of it. I'm like, these characters need more of a life. I feel like I'm not doing them justice by cutting them off here, and they only got this much time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and build them into the second book. That's
Okay.
what's happened.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk to the readers, Jordan. They're here for your books. They're not really here to learn how to write a book. They want your book, right? So let's talk a little bit about the world that you built. Let's start there. And kind of, can you explain to us where you're going to take us as a reader?
The hard part is doing that without spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, yeah. Good.
Uh, at the end of the day, I wrote the book for me. If I'm sitting in front of a computer and I'm not giggling or going, "That's awesome," I'm making changes. Like it has to serve that purpose.
Yeah.
I go on random tangents working out how different technologies work because I want to be as hard science fiction as I can be
Yeah.
without becoming an astrophysicist
Hmm.
because I don't know how that math works. So,
Right.
but I don't want things to be too convenient either.
Okay.
I've worked in a lot of industrial spaces, and Starship Go Vroom is not good enough for me. Like there needs to be people who make everything work. Like cruise ships, even the minimal manned crews have 30 to 40 people on them. And all
Hmm.
the automation in the world's only going to help, not to remove the need for blue collar men and women to do the work who are frustrated and pissed off and losing their mind because they got to balance the books versus the cargo they're hauling versus the risk of everything they're doing in their day.
Okay. So it sounds like a very structured environment. That sounds like the Air Force to me.
Yeah.
A lot
Eh,
of people working together, right?
yeah. And that I'd be remiss if I said that's not where some of it comes from.
Yeah.
But even people who work in restaurants and bars, they
Right.
appreciate the people behind the scenes. Waiters and waitresses appreciate their cook, or they hate them. Not everyone gets along, but they still have to work together.
Yeah. And every role is
Mm.
important,
Yeah,
from topping up the tanks on a plane to the pilot that takes off. Everybody needs everybody. Nobody can do it all by themselves. There's no pilot filling their own tank, right? Like at a self-serve gas station. That's not happening. So yeah, you're right. So everybody has to have a role, and every role is important, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you got to build in because in my space travel, it's hazardous. This is you're weeks away from rescue, and if there is rescue, that means you paid for it. You bought insurance for these reasons, and now you
Hmm.
got to balance the books, and it's an ugly mess of people trying their best for the most part.
Okay. So, Jordan, do your characters kind of present themselves to you while you're writing? All of a sudden, like a character kind of walks in and goes, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm part of the story," and then you kind of write them into the story. Is that how you meet your characters?
Pretty much. A lot of it's situational of who's the guy that lives here. Like if you have a flat tire and you pull into the garage, who's the guy who's been running this garage for the last 20 years? Did he just get there? Did he just take
Mm.
over the job? Is he cleaning up someone else's mess? And now we have a character.
Right. How deep do you go on characters when they present themselves like that?
Uh, Way too deep. If
Really?
if I had like if I could turn my ADHD down a notch or two, I could probably crank a book out every 6 months. But I spend way too much time on characters. Sometimes I ultimately throw away because they're not good for the story. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh, all right, you're gonna go in the notes. Maybe I'll drag you out sometime less. But it's also part of the exercise. Um not every painting goes to market. It's sometimes it's just skills development.
I
Mhm.
think it gives your characters some real human touch, a real way connection point for readers too, when you can really make your characters as real as possible, right? So that takes a lot of work. You can't just just write about a character and not research their background or create their world, right? You have to really invest in your characters.
I do. And
Yeah.
I've gone down the rabbit holes and I've given them diagnoses. I am not qualified to do that, but I'm reading excerpts on different personality issues of going, why are they this way? Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Okay.
Here's
Yeah.
why.
Okay. From your writing, then, who are some of the characters that you feel so close to as an author, as a writer, where you could sit down with this character from your book and go, I could just hang out with this person. I'm interested in them.
Hmm. A lot of my characters I don't like. I kind of hate
Oh,
them,
oh,
but I
really?
need to I need to understand people I don't necessarily like because I have that part of my brain that's why are you the way you are?
Okay.
I disagree with you at every point, and some of them I actively hate. And the ones that really bother me are the transient ones who I love, but they don't fit in the story. They need their own story. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to them because I built this kind of ideal person who can show up, do their job with efficient competence, and then go about their business because people like that tend to be successful. They show up, do their job, and then they get on to the next one. And the hazardous environment I'm building of space travel turns into a lot of that of if you're not competent in what you're doing, you don't survive very long. And people tend to band together.
So are those characters like a distraction then for you as an author? Yeah.
Very much so. And it makes it difficult.
Why do you think they keep showing up then?
Mm. Talk to my therapist.
Oh, really?
Like,
Oh, we're having a moment, everybody. Yeah.
yeah, I was
Okay.
like, they might be able to give you a fair answer. I know enough to say I don't know.
Okay.
And that's part of the wonder I'm trying to build into my universe
Yeah.
is why are certain things this way? We don't know. We know enough to not screw with it because it works.
As you're writing the books, what is satisfying for you as an author? Like, do you see the story coming together, and you're like, oh, I'm getting there. Like the story's kind of building.
Yeah, mostly it's these little moments, usually completely inappropriate jokes that aren't good for all audiences. Where I'm sitting there, I'm typing, and I'm going, then I'll text somebody. I'm like, I'm putting this in the book. It's already going out like this, and uh, the polite version is blue collar humor. That yeah, it's why I kind of warn children off of my books because you got to be a little twisted to enjoy it, and I
Mm.
understand that, especially when I go out and promote and I'm in a costume and the children see me dressed up and I'm in all these colors. I'm like, no, not for you, mom,
Yeah.
dad. Y'all want to
Yeah.
take a look? Here's the
Yeah.
sticker for the kid. Yeah,
I saw
those
your
are the moments.
pictures. I saw your pictures on Instagram of you dressed up, and I think that's interesting when an author does that because it makes people go, "What's happening over there at that table? I want to go see what's happening there."
Yeah. When after I got my first copies in, and I was like, I'm a real author. I did this. I dressed up kind of in a polo, sort of. I felt like an insurance salesman, and I lasted maybe a week. I hated it. And I was like, no, this is dumb. I'm not having any fun. If I'm gonna follow my dreams, I'm gonna make a costume. I had most of the ensemble already between riding motorcycles, paintball. I had most of the gear. I had knee pads laying around from like doing floors at my house. I was like, a little bit of spray paint. There we go. Now it's a spacesuit.
I love it. It's good. I think that's great. I actually had one author on, and two of his readers came to him at some cosplay event and said, we should have you out there to talk about your book, and we want to dress up as characters from your book. And the author came out to the table, and there are two of his friends dressed up like they stepped off the cover of the book. And it drew so many people to his table to talk to him as the author, and people wanted photos with these characters. But he was just amazed that his friends could dress up in that way and bring his characters to life. He said it was really weird to see them standing in front of him when
Right.
all he had as a point of reference was his story and sitting at his computer, right?
Yeah. And that, like, when you get out to these different fandoms and you see people bringing their little slice of joy to
Yeah.
life that only existed between pages or in a anime or different games, like that makes it worthwhile just to see people like going, you know what? Everything crappy in the world can wait 2 days. I'm gonna go enjoy this convention, and then I'll go back to work and start fussing with the rest of that.
Talk about the community that you're building around your book as readers, going to events and doing all that. How important is it for you as an author to connect with people who read your books?
I didn't realize that going in. It kind of emerged as it started with me cold calling bookstores, going, "Hey, I just published my book. Can I come promote?" And they're like, "You're an author?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but all I did is sit in front of a computer for a year and get it done. It wasn't that big of a deal."
Yeah.
But then everything was super supportive, and as the second one came out, I didn't know I had actual fans until they showed up and like, you finally have it out. I'm like, who are you? Th- then I realized, wait, you're here to meet me.
Wow.
I need to be excited. Stop being weird. And I try to match their energy because I was never used to people approaching me knowing who I am first. It's usually me going to the office going, hey, can you sign this? I need to go
Yeah.
get my car registered or whatever it is I'm doing in someone's office.
Yeah. They
And
start
I
showing up for you. That's
yeah,
amazing.
that's a that's very recent, like our last month recent, because it was getting over that initial fear of being a one-off. People write one book,
Right.
it's not well received, and then they never show up again. Is what I've heard, and I get it. It's promoting is tough if you don't have a major backing and you don't have tons of money for advertising to really promote. Uh, Independent authors come and go real fast.
For you as an author, too, then, who do you like to read? Because I find a lot of authors come on the show and they're like, I've heard many authors say that a great author is also a reader. So is there somebody that you like to
Oh yeah.
read or you enjoy? What do you like to read when you're not writing?
Uh, um, and I am drawing a blank
Of
now that
course,
I'm on
yeah.
the
I'm
spot.
asking this on the yeah.
Brandon Sanderson
Okay.
goes without. Uh, like if we showed up at the same convention, I'm standing in line with everybody else. I'm like, y'all can wait, get in line with me here. Craig Allenton is the one I was looking for, and it's the expeditionary force series that
Right.
really kind of pushed it over the edge of I I want to do something like this. Now, I'm not comparing myself to them, but if I can make my impact in the world a little bit the way they did,
Good.
I'd be pretty satisfied with the way things went.
That's good. I think we're all a little mixture of the people that influence us. Right. I'm a musician, so I like music. So I listen to all types of music. And I find that when I play music, I have a little bit of this person and a little bit of that person. It's all mixed together in my soup of my music and how I mix it together, right? So you're inspired by multiple authors. and each of them give you a little piece of themselves, and you blend them all together, add you to it, and you get something unique, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, so when is the storyline set? How far out in the future are we looking? Do you think? Do you have a time frame for when this book
Uh,
is happening?
Squiggly line.
Squiggly
Like on,
line.
yeah,
Yeah.
on graphs when they just like skip a giant set.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be bound by the constraints. So far
Yeah.
future
Far future.
is
Okay.
what it turns into, and it's the Earth is now a myth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and everyone's too busy with recent history to go dig up ancient history of what Earth that was.
How do you explain that to a reader so that you can put them into that time and space?
I don't. My characters are
Oh,
idiots. And so they're daily benign struggles that you can relate to, like
yeah.
of just getting enough food to eat. Public transportation sucks, especially when you don't like your neighbors. Uh, those struggles that translates without having to go, you fit here on this planet
Yeah.
in this scenario. It's no, it's more of didn't end when we started traveling in space. Why do we have to deal with that?
Yeah, because sometimes I wonder, like, if we spend too much time as authors creating the world, and everyone's like, "I get it. Can we just get to the story? Like, come on, I want to go right in a world." And they do all this stuff. You're like, "Okay, okay, okay." I just want to hear the character. I want to get into what we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's part of like I didn't have all these answers. Some of them I don't know, and I gave up somewhere along the process of going. I don't know how any of this work. You know who wouldn't understand how this stuff works either? A bartender. So he does the. I know how to use a cell phone, but doesn't mean I understand how any of the underlying technology works. I know what a battery is.
Yeah. You also know how to fuel up an airplane too. I don't know how to do that either. So, right.
Yeah, but if I
So,
showed you once, you would understand.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. So, who do you think would be an ideal reader? Who are you trying to reach? Who's your community?
My community are honestly people who can read mostly.
Yeah,
Anybody
that
who has a
helps.
little bit of dark, twisted sense of humor, but can
Yeah.
also appreciate a bit of beauty in the world wherever they may find it.
So just talking to you, Jordan, I get little hints of your character and who you are as a person. That's what we're going to get from the book too. A little bit of you like this.
Very much.
Yeah.
I'd be a much better writer if I could turn it off and not if I wasn't more Ryan Reynolds, where he plays the same character in every movie of himself. He's
Yeah.
also the same person in his interviews, but
Yeah.
he also gave us Deadpool on the
Yeah.
big screen. At some point, I became comfortable in my own skin, and I was like, "Well, I'm stuck in it. I might as well take it out for a ride."
Well, there you go. Ryan Reynolds, Canadian actor. So we got to put that in there, everybody, just so you know. Yeah. See, yeah, I think that's a good thing. He does have that consistency, no matter what movie he's in. Just he shows up,
Yeah,
right?
and it comes through, and I'm sure he knows it, and
Yeah.
he has built an empire around it. And in my own little way, I'm trying to do the same. Of I don't have to put on a show to do what I want to do. I can just be me and be comfortable in my own skin and try and accomplish something.
So if Ryan Reynolds is listening to this right now, and you could talk to Ryan for a second about how he's inspiring you from this perspective, what would you say to Ryan Reynolds? Come on.
Do Deadpool until you're 90. Just chef's kiss. It has brought me so much joy. Don't stop. We need more.
Okay, so that's a good
And then
point then.
I'd send them a copy of my book because I
Of
don't know what
course.
else to do. I'm in front of greatness, and
Yeah.
I'd go for broke. What else do you do?
To
Do
see
you
him
do
standing in line for it to get his book signed from you because he bought your book, that'd be fun too. So if we are a Deadpool fan or we like that kind of satire and fun and storyline and randomness. His movies are very random.
Yeah.
We would appreciate and love your stories. That kind of
Yeah.
comparison, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's break it down a notch because
Yeah.
that is a great cocktail, and I'm more of a beer. It's fun. It'll get you there, but let's lower those
Okay.
expectations.
Okay.
I'd
Very good.
rather
I like it.
undersell and then overdeliver.
So two books are out in the world right now. Third book, do you have a time frame for readers at all?
I am aiming if life treats me well, I will
Yeah.
try and publish every October for the rest of my life.
Oh wow.
The caveat on that is I am focusing on trying to get audiobook releases.
Oh.
Oh, and that's now my front target because that's been a constant ask from every time I go out. Do you have an audiobook? I listen to books in the car when I'm driving. And I'm like, okay, I need to do that because I do the exact same thing. But I I need to find the right people, and that's a process, and I'm working at it.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
probably going to push my third release back to make sure that happens because I want to do it appropriately, not just kind of send out a pile of AI generated garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to follow the same characters throughout at this point, the four books at this point?
Yeah.
Or are we going to go different characters?
My main storyline follows the same loose group of characters through completion.
Okay.
There's several side books I want to do, but I want to finish out my original. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but now it's looking like was it duodecology? Is that 12? Did I get that right?
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was supposed to be a trilogy. If the first manuscript turned into 4 books, I assume the back two will turn into additional 4 books each,
Wow.
which would be the main storyline. Then I want to build out the other civilizations a little bit more in depth that I haven't really gotten a chance to explore. Because as I am fleshing out the universe for these two characters, I have all these little branches that I want to explore that I'm just nope, don't touch them. Come back to it when you finish the next book.
So you talked about earlier on, you talked about being in a spot where you're doing a job. It's very, your mind starts to wander. You're like, it's just like, it can be quite boring. Now you're in a spot as an author and a writer where creativity is just flowing out of you. Is this where you're meant to be?
I hope so.
Yeah.
It realistically, I have practical concerns. If the money doesn't pan out, eventually I got to go get a regular job
Yeah.
because I'm eating through my savings of working in various industries to get these out to do it.
But
But
you can't
yeah,
get there without doing it, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
well, also the business side of the industry. I don't have a business degree, and I'm going, how do I do this? And I'm YouTubing how to build a website
Yeah.
and just to have a place, have my own landing page versus paying someone to do it because I respect a programmer, but I have to decide between a programmer to build me a website and a editor to edit the next book.
Okay. So, Jordan, talk to the audience, the readers. You talk to them. You love when they come up and talk to you at events and stuff, and they're like excited to see you. We have listeners who are hearing you for the first time or have already bought the first 2 books and they're eagerly awaiting book 3. They're listening to us right now. If I could turn the mic over to you and you can just talk to them directly, what would you like to say to your community, your readers?
Thank you so much for coming out and supporting me and helping make my dreams come true. Because without a community, all this is pointless anyway. If I didn't
Right.
know there were other authors out there publishing works that I enjoy, I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Now that I'm on the other side of the table and people are purchasing my book, it feels like things are coming full circle. And follow your dreams or make time to have fun while taking care of your responsibilities.
The infinitenightbooks.com. That's our website, right?
Yeah.
What do we find when we get there?
Mostly it's my landing page. It has my schedule for where I'm going to be in the immediate future as I build it out and there's a little bit of contracting involved uh, for me to do promotional work out there, and it'll show where I'm going to be. I need to build out a glossary because I'm making up my own jargon to write a book, and that's the next project I need to get to for the
Yeah.
website.
Cool.
Then there's a
Yeah.
store for where you can purchase the books directly from me. I'll sign them and send them out.
Good. And are your contact information's there? Yeah. And like your events, everything is there. I love that. I see you have a tab for the team. Did you have Travis? Who's Travis?
Travis is the interior designer, and he did his job is all the interior formatting stuff, so it shows up on your phone and your e-readers and all that without issues. So it's his fault if a link is broken.
Travis, thank you for all your hard work. That's great. It's good. It's good to have you give people around you that are really helping you. I love that, Jordan.
Appreciate it.
It's good. Yeah, let's head out, Jordan. So we can buy your books directly from you. We can go over to the website. Is there a social media platform you prefer as well for us to come and follow?
They are all accessible except for X. I got
Okay.
banned from X. I don't know why.
Well, that's too bad. Talk about the cover of the books too. Like, who helped you with that? They're
Oh,
great.
uh, uh, he's speaking of Canadians. He's
Oh,
Canadian. His
there
name's
you go.
Jeff Brown. I know he's on Instagram and the other social medias. He did wonderful work. I sent him this long, detailed email of everything I thought I wanted on my book cover, which we immediately ignored 5 minutes into a Zoom call as he was sketching out my book cover. See if I can get
Yeah,
the
it's
angle
great.
just right. Yeah,
It's beautiful.
he was sketching this out in front of me as he was asking questions. Then he one I got a prop I'm gonna grab for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Please. Oh, geez. What
Right.
is that?
This is a Palok. It's my alien ceremonial uh weapon. That's also how I envision defeating power armor, like the practical tool that would evolve with as weapons advance. So
Yeah.
I wanted something with a bit of leverage. Uh, on the cover right here, where
There it
it
is, right
beca-
on the bottom there.
it,
Okay.
it turned into my logo, and here,
Yeah.
uh, I was on the phone when I sent him a picture off of my cell phone and watched him extract it, like remove my feet and the cat out of the image, adjust it and color correct it so it fit on the cover.
Yeah, and
And
we can see
between
that on your Instagram too. We see photos of
yeah,
it. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty beefy. That's,
yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure I freaked my neighbors out in the process
Yeah.
of
What?
figuring. Well, I took cardboard and duct tape because I
Yeah.
wanted to figure out the shape of something really ergonomic
Yeah.
and that felt right. Then I went to my friend who's a real welder, and she had a shop with like $500,000 worth of equipment. She's got a plasma cutter and everything. And I'm like, hey, can I borrow your equipment? And she told me, like, that's inventory and that's scrap. Dig in the scrap pile.
There you
And
go.
I gave her a case of beer and I started working. And after about 30 minutes of her throwing beer cans at me while I'm trying to figure out how to weld, I'd never welded before in my life. She comes over, twists the knob, the machine starts working, and then I get it all welded up.
There you go.
She told me what I was doing wrong, but it was hilarious the entire time. She was just trolling me because that's her day job. She does it for a living, and
Yeah.
she's just watching me struggle. And I'm like, "Can you help me? You've been watching that. You drank all the beer."
I
Then
love
she
it.
came around and we got it done.
Good.
But she wanted me to go through the process of this isn't easy. Not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Before yeah, you got to get your bumps and bruises in before you pick up a new skill.
That's great. You're just gonna have to keep writing more books, coming up with more ideas, and go build more things. Right?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
I love
Next
it.
is the costume. I want a better cosplay.
There you go. Well, it's great. I love watching and seeing your photos and your videos on Instagram. It's fun to watch and see where you're ending up and who you're talking to. I'm just encouraging you, Jordan. Keep writing, keep sharing your stories, because I can tell this is something that's really your passion, and that you really enjoy. And it's just another side of you that I think you've always wanted to click into. And it's nice to see you find something that you're truly happy with.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Everyone, information for Jordan in the show notes. Would love for you to go and buy a copy of his first 2 books that are out. If you get to see Jordan out in the wild in public, you can get to see him in his costume. Make sure you go up and talk to him. I'm sure he'd love to chat with you.
Absolutely.
Get an autographed book from him. Bring your book. Get an autograph from Jordan as well. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Good, Jordan. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee, okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.